Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. I found another attorney who believes, and has publicly stated on CoinDesk no less, that Ripple is going to lose its lawsuit with the SEC. And it is very difficult to find attorneys who will publicly state such a thing. And you know what I keep finding? And it is indeed the case here. What I keep finding is that almost every single time that you find an attorney who says that XRP is a security or Ripple is going to lose this lawsuit, almost 100% of the time I've found any attorney who said that, you come to find out that before the lawsuit was even initiated, that attorney was already against XRP. And that is the case here. There's an attorney who's named Preston Byrne, and I've actually highlighted on my channel, it may have been a couple years or so at this point, I can't remember exactly, but I've highlighted some of the FUD he put out about XRP. And when so as soon as I started looking this up, because I saw, this guy saying Ripple's going to lose, and before I read the article, I was like, let's see if this guy's against XRP. So I just did a quick Google search, Preston Byrne XRP, and bam, all sorts of XRP FUD. It pops right on up. And the reason that I even thought to search to his name and then followed by XRP before reading the article, I just skimmed over a little bit beforehand, is because I came across the article thanks to an attorney named Haley Lennon who shared this. Haley Lennon hates XRP and she hates Ripple, and she has been aggressive towards the community at times. I've highlighted it in videos in the past, and then she makes herself out to be the victim, that whole type of thing here. But she shared this article and wrote, "Awesome article by my law partner, Preston Byrne." As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, if you think it's an awesome article, and I know you hate XRP and you're highly biased, and you have publicly stated that XRP itself is a security, as I've highlighted on my channel, then I'm guessing that there's a good chance that this guy is maybe a little bit biased as well. And oh, he was. So I'm going to correct some of the nonsense that he cited here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. And so here's the opinion piece on CoinDesk by Preston Byrne, published today, this morning, titled "Economic Unreality: What SEC ICO Precedents Mean for Ripple." And so I'll show you, I don't want to read the whole article. I'm going to highlight a few parts of this, the most offensive parts in particular. But after reading it in its entirety, I shared the article on Twitter and I wrote the following. This is just like an hour or so ago. I wrote, "This article says the SEC will beat Ripple and that Stuart Alderati is in denial." And by the way, just as a quick reminder, Stuart Alderati is Ripple's general counsel. That means he's their top in-house legal guy. And Preston Byrne says that Stuart Alderati is in denial. By the end of this, you'll see, well, that's pretty rich coming from him. Pretty rich coming from him. Because, look, I am all for diverse opinions. It's great. But this guy is not entitled to his own facts. And he's being dishonest. I firmly believe, I don't think he's stupid. I think he's intentionally misleading the public, and I'll explain why as we go through this. And so I wrote, and after that, "It also conflates Ripple with XRP, says that the XRP ledger consensus mechanism is like proof of stake, and that Ripple created XRP." And then I put a little facepalm emoji in there because what else can he do? He's treating Ripple and XRP as if they're the same thing and you can use them interchangeably. And he does in the article. And this isn't 2017. As I record this, it's December of 2022. Everyone knows the difference at this point, damn it. I then wrote further, "The author/lawyer Preston Byrne also cited the XRP ledger consensus mechanism as, quote, that weird thing Ripple does, end quote." No bias here, folks. He called the consensus mechanism in the XRP ledger highly novel, especially dating back to the earliest days of crypto when it was conceived and created in 2012. Incredible, and it just freaking works. This worked for a decade. And now that a decade has passed, he says that the consensus mechanism, which does things such as, results in blazing fast speed for XRP transactions, solves the double spin problem. He calls it that weird thing Ripple does. What in the ever-loving hell? And then I highlighted this article, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit too. Here it is. He wrote this piece, September 20th, 2018. I'm going to circle back to this. This is titled, "For the Last Time, Ripple Labs created XRP. Now, this is the article that I recognized. As soon as I did my Google search, and this is one of the results that popped up, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember this guy. I remember this guy. And this would have been, I believe, when I covered this, I believe it would have been well before the lawsuit. So again, this article is over 4 years old, but he's trying to propagate a lie. He is propagating a lie. That Ripple created XRP. It is factually incorrect, provably incorrect, and hilariously, he provides the evidence it's not true in his own blog, but then asserts that it's not evidence for such a thing. It's truly mind-boggling stuff. And I also then wrote, I appreciate diverse thought, but this guy is incapable of acknowledging the objective truth that XRP was created before Ripple, so there's no way I'm trusting any of his legal analysis. He seems to be projecting what he wants to be true rather than what is true. And so his article, it's a bunch of nonsense about the nature of XRP. And as far as the legal analysis, like, if he's already saying stuff that I know to not be true, I already know I can't trust him. So if he's just lying about the XRP tech side, but he is being honest with his legal analysis, I can't tell the difference. He has no trust. Like, I cannot trust this individual. This is why it's best in life to just say the truth consistently and have a compelling argument and just believe as many true things as possible, rather than propagating lies to try and convince people of whatever it is that you actually want to be true. Why can't we just live in reality instead? But then you get this tribal ideological BS nonsense from people like this, and it's really just disappointing to see that humans behave like this, but it is what it is. We've all been guilty of this behavior at points in our lives, but the point is, like, as you grow up and you get older, do better. Recognize that humans do this at times and then stop doing it, you know? Just knock it the hell off. And you can see here's a sentence right here. If Ripple loses, as I expect it will sooner or later, its defeat would be highly symbolic. That's in the article from Preston Byrne. Moving down here, it highlights several different, how did he word this? He wrote here, generally speaking, blockchains in the 2013 to 2015 period worked in one of four ways. And then it cites the four ways. I'm just showing you this is a real thing that it wrote. The fourth bullet point is that weird thing Ripple does. So that's how a blockchain works, that weird thing Ripple does. No, not the amazing, blazing fast technology that uses almost zero energy, costs fraction of a penny for a single transaction, settles in real time. The weird thing Ripple does, and prevents the double spend problem. All that's just the weird thing Ripple does. And then he cites right here, I don't want to read this whole thing, or this video will just go too long if I were literally reading everything he wrote, but what I highlighted there, you can see that he's stating that the consensus mechanism utilizing the unique node list is very similar to proof of stake, except without the stake, which means, of course, that it's not like proof of stake. He's just saying he does not know what he's talking about. He's misleading. And I think on a lot of this, he is misleading. And you'll see why by the end of this video, I think. And it's pretty repulsive. And then he insinuates, he won't outright say that Ripple had an ICO, because that would be harder to defend. So I think that's why he stopped there. But he insinuated that Ripple did that. And you can tell, just reading through the article, he talks about how ICOs are this or that, and then what Ripple did, and how Ripple, XRP got distributed to Ripple, and it was all within this vein of this idea of ICOs and how the SEC would respond to them. So he's clearly trying to make it as though Ripple held an ICO, or it's effectively the same thing, which is just misleading. It's just not intellectually honest. But this guy's not intellectually honest. He's just saying a bunch of stuff that flat out is not true. So let's dig in a little bit further here, because it gets more ridiculous. So let's go back to this piece from September 20th from 2018 titled, "For the Last Time, Ripple Labs Created XRP." And I actually broke this thing down in great detail a couple years ago. I'm not going to do it again here. You can look it up. If you just Google that title, it's going to pop right on up. You can read the whole thing if you want. But there are some things that I do want to point out about this, such as the fact that this guy, Preston Byrne, this attorney, he actually notes here that Ripple, which was incorporated as Newcoin Inc., so that was the original name of Ripple, that was on September 19th. Right there, it's on the screen. He actually went to the trouble of pulling up the documents. Now, these documents, again, I've shared on the channel. I've talked about these documents on Twitter also. These are not scary things to me. They prove my point, but he tries to make it as though this is proof that Ripple did it. And why does he make the argument? What's the alleged logic that he's using? Well, he's stating that effectively that people that created XRP, a couple of them, ended up working at Ripple Labs, and one of them was the founder, Jed McCaleb. And because that's a thing, that means that Ripple made it. Except for that's literally not true. People did a thing, they created a thing, and then they did a separate thing unrelated to that thing, created a company after they created XRP. These are two separate things. Just because there are a couple people involved in both doesn't mean that they are not standalone incidents. You know, like for instance, Chris Larson, he wasn't one of the creators of XRP. He didn't have anything to do with that. He got involved in that after XRP was created. And then you can look at David Schwartz. He's not a founder of Ripple. He's one of the creators of XRP. And he ended up working at Ripple because people know people. Go figure, networking's a real thing in life. Duh. And then Jed McCaleb happened to be involved in both. He was a creator of XRP and the XRP ledger and happened to found Ripple. Two separate incidents. He proves it himself on this damn stupid blog here, or article, whatever you want to call it. And then he pretends that they're the same thing because reasons. Like, lawyers are supposed to be logical. And if this is his actual logic, then he's a terrible lawyer. But I don't think, I think that he just wants a thing to be true because it's so irrational, it just doesn't make any damn sense. And then he highlights as proof that XRP and the XRP ledger is created by Ripple. So I guess it's effectively their property. I mean, they created it, right? I mean, I guess it's not open source software, right? He highlighted this, and I've only talked about this a couple other times on the channel, and it doesn't come up that frequently. Most people aren't aware of it, but it is true. Ripple Labs has a trademark of XRP. Well, wait a minute. Ripple has a trademark of XRP. Why would they do that? Why would Ripple have a trademark of XRP if they didn't create XRP? That doesn't make any sense. That's effectively what he's arguing, except for that's not quite true. It's explicitly untrue, and he's a lawyer, so he knows better, and he has to know better. That's why I firmly believe he's intentionally misleading people. So look at this. He wrote here, the intellectual property picture appears to support the proposition that XRP was created by Ripple Labs. To really drive the point home about who calls the shots about XRP, look at the branding of the product itself. When I go to Ripple's website, on the upper right, there's a heading that says XRP. So look at this, and he's got this little screen grab of the site from 2018. Ripple utilizes XRP as a bridge currency. Are you really surprised it's on their damn website? Are you actually surprised? Why would it not be something that they talk about when it's at the heart of on-demand liquidity, which at that point in time, Ripple was pitching to customers? You know, it was just a couple weeks from going live. When he publishes, on-demand liquidity was about 2 weeks from going live, getting out of pilot mode and into production mode. And they were in the process of signing customers. In fact, by that point, they probably already had signed some, it just wasn't public knowledge. And he's making out the fact that they're talking about their use of a decentralized cryptocurrency in their proprietary software, and that's somehow proof that this is all just Ripple's thing? What a bunch of disingenuous bunk, and he has to know that. And then he wrote, which, if I click through, leads me to a big honking logo reading XRP. Oh my god, an even bigger logo of XRP on the website. What the hell do you think that means? And then he says, a brand name owned by none other than, you guessed it, Ripple Labs. And then he does share this, and this part is true. This is why I'm happy to talk about this. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so Ripple Labs, they do have a trademark for XRP, but you know what that attorney Preston Burns not telling people is that there's a difference between a trademark and a copyright. You know what a copyright has? And you can find this anywhere on the internet. I went to NerdWallet because it's one of the results that popped up just to prove my point. It's all over. You know, NerdWallet's pretty, I think they're perceived as trustworthy, but you can find this anywhere. What does a copyright protect? Well, there's a bunch of bullet points on your screen here. One of them is computer software. That is not what Ripple filed. Ripple does not have a copyright for computer software having to do with XRP whatsoever. They have a trademark. A trademark is different, and I'm familiar with trademarks because I filed for my own trademark for a business myself about a decade ago, probably close to a decade ago. And here is the XRP trademark. Now, a trademark is, it protects your usage of whatever that trademark is within the confines of your business model. And it's not just the letters XRP in that order, it's the logo itself. Ripple filed these letters with this exact font for a reason. That's how trademarks work, so that they're protected. Otherwise, somebody else could come out and file the same thing, and then if Ripple is using that, then they'd have to, in theory, go back, and they'd have another legal battle on their hands. It's to prevent legal problems. It doesn't mean that they own XRP. This doesn't give them ownership over XRP or the XRP ledger. It is unrelated. Preston Byrne knows that because he's a freaking lawyer, and he is misleading to people. That's tantamount to a lie, or an actual lie. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. He's misleading people. He knows the difference between a trademark and a copyright. And think about it, just to bring the point home further, here's a list of, I think I had it anyway. Where is it? Oh yeah, it is right here actually. It's this tab right here. Here's a list, and this is the United States Patent and Trademark Office website. This is the official website. This shows all of Ripple's trademarks, dating, and the most recent one being October 12th of this year. Crypto means business. You may have seen in their advertisements recently, it's been all over the place. Crypto means business. That's something they started using, so it protects the font and the style, and specifically how it's used within their business model. You can't just apply for a trademark and get it passed by stating crypto means business. When you, for instance, like when they got their XRP trademark approved, here's what they wrote. It's a Mark IV. XRP trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of financial services, namely providing secure payment options to members of an online community via a global computer network through the use of traditional currency and virtual currency. My friends, that's not even a description of XRP. That's how they can use XRP within the confines of their business model. That is not an explanation of XRP, which is a decentralized ledger, utilizing distributed ledger technology. Has a native cryptocurrency attached to it. They're talking about traditional currency in here, in fact. Couldn't be more obvious that Ripple understands the purpose of a trademark. That's why they filed it, damn it. But anyway, so going back to the rest of their trademarks here, look at this. Ripple also filed for PayID. Well, that's not theirs. They supported the project from the beginning. But what about Interledger Protocol? Here's ILP. They've got several trademarks for ILP. ILP is a protocol. It's a protocol, just like TCP/IP, which makes the internet possible. It's the glue of the internet. That's a protocol. Well, this is what that is, but for effectively money. It connects ledgers. That's it. Ripple doesn't own this. In fact, every browser on the planet, so far as I know, has implemented to this point Interledger Protocol, including Apple's Safari browser. Okay? Like, this is just the font and the way in which they would use it and talk about it, or market service they have associated with it within the confines of Ripple's specific business. It doesn't mean they own ILP. So when you have a trademark for ILP, you have a trademark for PayID, you have a trademark for XRP, it doesn't mean that you own it or that you created those things. That is not what that means. It means that you have registered for it. In this case, as far as I know, they were all approved. And great. So do you realize that you listening to this, if you got a business, you could also file a trademark for XRP, and as long as it's stylized differently, you should be able to do it unless there was some sort of argument that the reason that you filed it was too much overlap with Ripple, in which case they'd have some sort of argument against you, presumably. That's the purpose of having a trademark. But if you want to have a trademark for XRP and you stylize it differently and it's for a different use case, I'm willing to bet you'll get approved because it's not a copyright, damn it. This guy is so misleading, so disingenuous, and the typical person has no idea this is the case. If you just read this stuff, that sounds pretty compelling. Well, I don't blame you for, you're not a lawyer. Most people listening out there, I'm sure some listening are lawyers. And again, I don't pretend to be. I just happen to have gone through this process myself, and I remember looking into it literal years ago. I've talked about this on my channel before, and this is what he brings up. And this idea that Ripple created XRP, just to bring the point home further, that this guy is full of crap. There's an article talking about this too from You Today. XRP turns 9. Here's how it all started, and that was from June 2nd of 2021. So now it's over 10 years old. But there's this thread, and I've covered this on the channel before. I don't want to read this whole thing, but it was about the history and the creation of XRP itself. And David Schwartz, co-creator of XRP and the XRP Ledger, notes that Arthur Brito is the one that actually wrote the code that created 100 billion XRP on June 2nd, 2012. It was then called XNS. It was since then, I don't remember exactly when it happened, but it was renamed to XRP. But it's the same thing. Renames happen. It doesn't mean that it ceases to be the same thing. If you listening to this rename yourself, it doesn't mean you're a new human. Just like if you rename a cryptocurrency, it doesn't mean it's a new cryptocurrency. It just has a new name. That's all that happened here. And June 2nd, 2012. And he shared this link proving it. This goes to GitHub, and here you can see where I'm highlighting. That's where the 100 billion XRP, then known as XNS, was created. It's on your screen. And I'm not familiar with GitHub. I'm not a coder dude or anything, but I click right there with the three little dots. You click on View File. You can see here is the date, June 2nd, 2012, verifiably the case. So this guy's just a lying liar. He's saying a bunch of nonsense that isn't true, and he deserves to be called out for it. Now, I recognize that Ripple could lose the case. I have acknowledged that. I don't know. I don't know that they will. But that is separate from whether or not XRP itself is a security. And so even if Ripple gets fined, they get dinged for certain transactions from earlier in the lifespan of XRP, in the history of XRP, fine. If they do. I'm not saying I want that to happen or that it should. I'm just saying it could happen. Fine, I'll give you that. But that is separate from whether or not XRP itself is a security. And that topic wasn't even broached. This guy is so disingenuous, it's just irritating. It's times like this I'm extra glad that I have the platform that I have. It's a little cathartic when I get to just kind of, just put what I believe anyway is the proper perspective out into the universe. But this is what we're working with here. And you got to be diligent because there's so many people that are happy to mislead people to try and, I guess make materialize the reality that they want to be true. For whatever reasons, unbeknownst to me, he is against XRP, ideological, this, that, the other. I don't know what it is, but he is wrong. He is saying things that are not true. I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to talk about here. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I could hide, and this is him right here, by the way. This is his Twitter profile. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I could go to great pains to cover every detail, but then this would end up being like an hour and a half video because there's that much to talk about probably. So I just thought I'd hit on the biggest things here. But my gosh, I'm just sick of this crap. And again, it's not the opinion. If he just has the opinion that Ripple's going to lose, it's fine. But if you then in that article put a bunch of other stuff in there that's untrue, that paints a poor, untrue picture about Ripple and XRP specifically, no, you lose respect and you lose trust. Being wrong is one thing. Like, we're all wrong at times. I'm wrong at times. I'm not perfect. But this is so bad that I don't know how it couldn't be intentional. That's why you lose trust, Preston Byrne. People like me that read through this, that have half a brain, at least, and a bit of knowledge, we know that you're lying. And so you're not tricking me, but you are tricking some people, and that's what grinds my gears the most about this, because I know that there are people who are just... How deep is the average person going to dive into understanding XRP and the history of XRP and all this stuff to find out what's true and what's not? Most people don't have that much time, and there are over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies. You're going to do it for all of them? Because you can't. I can't. I happen to know about XRP a lot, specifically in the history of XRP. But no, most people can't do this. And so that's what really bugs me about this. He's just misleading people out in the public, and then CoinDesk, happy to help propagate the lies. That's why they're called FUD desk within the XRP community. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.